Welcome to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, brought to you by Pilma. This podcast helps lead lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Here is your legal marketing expert and host, Ken Hardison.
Hello, everyone. This is Ken Hardison, and welcome to another episode of Grow Your Law Firm. And today we have the honor and privilege of having Cassidy Lewis, Chief Marketing Officer for Cooper Hurley Injury Lawyers out of Virginia Beach in Norfolk area. And Cassidy also runs our roundtables for our marketing roundtables at Pilma each month and does a bang-up job. And so I said, I'm trusting her to teach our marketing directors for our law firms that are members, how to do this. I damn sure need to have her on our podcast, right?
And thank you for that, kid. It's an honor running that roundtable. We have so much fun every month.
Yeah, it's another unique benefit of Pema. I mean, it's and you guys made me realize we needed it, and I said, well, gosh, with people are asking for it, I want to give it. So, we do it for marketing, and we do a management roundtable every month for all our members too. For all the office managers or CEOs or COOs or law firm administrators, whatever it might be. But anyway, it's a pleasure having you here, and I appreciate it, especially on short notice because I had a cancellation today, and you were kind enough to work yourself into my schedule, and I appreciate that. Really do.
Oh, no worries. No worries. Yeah. I'm happy to be here.
So tell me about Cassidy Lewis. Tell me your story.
Sure. So I have been in marketing about 13 years, probably a little bit over 13 years. Started doing campaign management, sales, some of the, nitty gritty stuff in marketing, and just worked my way around into different places. Opened up my own marketing firm for a few years. Loved it, loved working in so many different industries. That level of experience gives you insight to different industries, and how they market, how to penetrate their markets, which was really, really good. Got pregnant and decided to stay home. And then when I was ready to go back in the field, got with Cooper Hurley Injury Lawyers a little over 4 years ago. And I've been here ever since. And we have grown a lot. We have done a lot. Just in cases, in marketing, in staffing, in it all. We've grown so much, and it's been wonderful working here so far.
Absolutely. So y'all located, did I get it right? Is it Virginia Beach or is it Norfolk or is it both?
So our main office is in Norfolk, Virginia. Most of our clients come from Virginia Beach, but we have 8 locations. We operate as a region here. So I live in Suffolk, work in Norfolk, from Virginia Beach. So we have locations in all of the 7 cities and then one on the eastern shore of Virginia.
How big is it? So when you got there, how big was it? And how big is it now as far as lawyers and staff and stuff? We all together, we were probably low 20s when I got here, and 4 or 5 attorneys. Now we're about double that. It should be at about 40. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, we have 8 attorneys here. So we've just about doubled in the last 4 years. We are definitely in a growth phase. This is even during the pandemic. Pandemic year was the best year we had. It was a good year for us. It really was. We saw a drop. People weren't driving. We only do personal injury, and most of our revenue does come from car accidents. So people weren't driving. So we saw a dip in cases, but we picked back up that summer. But that was one of. Now, we had a better year the next year, but as far as growth, that was our best year. So tell me about what I want to know, because you're kind of unique for a firm of 40 people. How many people do you have working in the marketing department that you oversee? So we have 5 full-time people in the marketing department. And when I tell people, they're like, whoa. But that is a reflection of my partners and their 1, understanding, and 2, dedication to marketing. They've always been ahead of their time when it came to understanding how important marketing is and saying, okay, we know it's important, but we know that we also need to put the resources behind it. So that comes with a budget, and it also comes with manpower. When I first got here, within like my first 3 or 6 months, I was the only one. I was the only person in marketing, and then went and hired a digital marketing assistant, then a creative coordinator, have my director of client services, and now a marketing assistant. My boss Jim did say enough. He said no more right now. And I need to make him a few more million before I get anybody else. But 5 full-time marketers, and we try to handle every good marketing thing, every good marketing strategy that comes our way. We try to get it done.
So what do you outsource? And it sounds like you keep a lot of it in-house, but what do you outsource still? The SEO?
SEO is our biggest one. What ends up happening with our vendors, I'm sure that you've heard of just issues with vendor management, right? And, I've been on the vendor side. I told you I own my own marketing firm. It's just a space where you have so many clients, the vendor can't give the businesses the attention they deserve all the time, not all the time. So what ends up happening is that we hold their hand, or we get them almost to the finish line and let them get it out. So like we have an email marketing company, but we write the content for the email, we do the design, but they manage the database, the unsubscribes, they handle some of the grunt work that we may not want to. We have an SEO company, we work with Blue Shark, and they write the content, we approve it all, or, rewrite any necessary pieces. We do a lot of the design pieces, or, the resources. So we do have a good amount of vendors, but like I said, it's much more of a partnership than just here's this project, take it from here.
You're right, though. That's I've always said that the squeaky wheel gets the grease. If you got somebody working hand in hand, then you're gonna get the attention, and you deserve it.
Right.
But, yeah. So tell me, what you've been there 4 years, last 2 or 3 years, what have you seen that really is working well, and some stuff that you tried that's really not worked that well?
Sure. So I'll say this, one thing that remains constant are our referrals. And it's funny because I went and got my master's in digital marketing because I said, you know what, I got my undergraduate degree so long ago, I need to, know what's going on. It is our referrals, especially our attorney referrals, that continue to impress me. I remember when I got here, my boss, Jim Hurley, he said, attorney referrals really make up our business. They really are a big part of our bottom line, our revenue every year. And I looked at the numbers, and it would be like 8 open cases a month out of like 40. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And then I saw the numbers. So it took me a full year to recognize how important that is. And it is so important to us that we have a completely different marketing plan for our attorney referrals. We have a nice size line item for attorney referrals. We have separate marketing meetings with all of our attorneys in-house for attorney referrals. We take it serious. And then from our client referrals or business contact referrals, that's my director of client services, and that's what she handles. When somebody gives us a referral, we just put this in place. This year, we call them and say, thank you. Yeah, we'll send them a letter. We'll send them, something in the mail. We send them like these little mini pound cakes. That's really cute from a local bakery, but we call them. How do I connect with these people and let them know that referral means a lot to us? So referrals have been major. Another space, and I have to give Pilma credit for really putting me on this path to knowing as much as I know, is the digital marketing space. We are in an area where the law firms that are around have been around for 40 and 50 years. So when law firms or attorneys were able to market, they went straight to TV. And I'm on TV, so, I think it can work, but that's where they focus. And when I got here, John Cooper, one of the partners here, he had a focus on the internet, a focus on local rankings, a focus on SEO. And I remember my first digital marketing boot camp I went to at Pema, and I was like, whoa, like as long as I've been in marketing, like I didn't know it was just so specific, I guess. It was so much. but we've been able to be in that space. I will say though, with things like the vicinity update, you recognize that you don't own that traffic, you don't own those clicks. You just, that vicinity update took us for a world when we're coming back, but you don't own that stuff. What we do own are our referrals. That's what's kept us going year in and year out. So those are the two things that work pretty well for us. As far as what did not, like in the digital space, PPC doesn't work well for us. We do so well in organic and local. The clicks were just outrageous. Now, this doesn't mean LSAs. We love local service ads. I do some name protection, so I buy my name because our competitors buy my name as well. But just car accident lawyer clicks, they have not done well. We've gotten some cases, but when you compare it, when you drill down on the numbers, it's so expensive. Sometimes $1,400 a click, and that's just a click. That doesn't mean a call. That doesn't mean an intake. That doesn't mean much. So I recognize that it works well for a lot of my colleagues that are legal marketers, but it didn't do well for us.
It's going to be different in different markets. Certain markets are just way saturated and very competitive, and you have people that come in, drive the prices up, then leave because it don't work for them. But I'm glad to know, so LSAs have been doing good for you.
Yeah, you know what, again, something that when it comes to digital, you don't own it. We'll have a month and we'll open up 10 cases. And we like it because it's, $250 per call, give or take, for us in our market. And then we'll have some where I won't have any cases. Yeah. But I recently watched a really good webinar on figuring out that algorithm or working that algorithm so that it works for you. And March is my first month implementing some of those changes. And it seems to be what we want, the calls that we want. And they're good calls. And I'll know if they've opened or not by the end of the month.
Yeah. Good deal. Yeah, LSAs, I see people that are doing really good and some aren't, but I think there's a lot of little things you got to do. We talked about it at our mastermind a couple of weeks ago. And one of the things that lawyers don't realize, if you put down there 24/7, you better answer those calls within like 2 rings and put in and click in there that the job, that you closed it out one way or the other, because they'll penalize you, big time penalize you.
Oh, yeah.
If you miss a call, let it drop, you're going to go back to the bottom. I mean, I'm just curious, and I don't know the answer. So how many Google reviews have you got?
So one thing that we have working against us almost are the multiple locations. So if you were to put all our reviews together, it could easily be 500 to 600. Now, our primary locations, Virginia Beach and Norfolk, both have over 200, 230-ish. So, and we try to push those. I've heard before in that Google algorithm, getting over that 200 hump is where you need to be. But for the ones where we push our LSAs, they are over 200.
That's important. I really do. I think that's true. If you think about it, if you could get if somebody does a search and you're on the first page organic, you're on the top 3 of the local ads, and you're at the top 2 or 3 on the LSA ads. That's 3 out of 4, even if you don't do the PPC. And if you do the PPC just to protect your name, then you could even be up there 4 times. So that's a big deal, I think. The fact that you're up there so much, somebody's got to say, well, they must be great. They're up there 3 times. Let me give them a call. Yeah.
Right, that's what we want.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Do y'all use, how do y'all do intakes? Y'all have intake people, or you just let your staff do it, or how do you do it? You have dedicated, or?
So about a year and a half ago, we have a dedicated department to intake. So we have a director of intake and then an intake specialist, and that's 2 people. So my managing partner said, okay, he's chosen 9 people internally that do intake very well. That if those 2 people are not available, those 9 people are the first ones that get the call. We made that switch because it used to be, if you were a paralegal or a legal assistant, you could take the call. I've taken intakes before, but having that dedicated group makes a lot of difference. They get trained more. We listen to their calls. We have monthly intake meetings with that group. It gives you a much smaller population to work with that you can really focus on.
So you would say, the client referrals. So what do you do special? You told me you had to actually do a phone call on that, but how do you get them to know that you want referrals to start with? I mean, what do you do? How do you stay on the top of their mind? What type of things do you do there?
Sure. So I'm a big proponent of the idea that the referral starts in the intake process, right? So like you have to impress them throughout. And so we place a big focus on that client experience. So like at 3 months, we send our clients a movie night gift box, right? And it's a blanket, popcorn, like movie candy, and a note from their legal team that says, we know these past few months have been a lot for you. We want you to take tonight and relax. People love it. For us in particular, in personal injury, it's primarily women that come to us. Women are easy to please no matter what men say. Little gifts like that, they send us, right? Oh, and then it's the blanket, a yellow Cooper Hurley blanket, like wrap up in the blanket. Tonight, it's, all about you. At 6 months, we send a client survey. At 9 months, we send a box of sunshine. Our colors are yellow and black, so it's a bunch of like yellow snacks and just little things like, hey. And we did this because maybe 2 years into me being here, just hearing, I would listen to recorded calls and hearing client complaints. You know what I mean? I tried to reverse engineer it. After 3 months, some of the smaller cases, they're done treating. So after they're done treating, it's like, I'm ready for my money now, right? Right? I get because a lot, thinking about the client journey, some of these clients I've already gotten an offer from the adjusters, something small, of course, but they've already gotten that. So now they're thinking like, I'm done treating, I should have my money now. So we put that in at 3 months. We just looked at some of the times where there were the most pain points and started to send them gifts. A year later, we do something called a settleversary gift. And it says basically, it's been a year since we settled your case. We want you to know that, you mean the world to us. Everybody in the office says hi. And, if you know a loved one that's been hurt, send them our way, right? One thing that we found out, we did client testimonials for a recent commercial. We find out that people celebrate that, like, especially the ones in bad car accidents, they celebrate those times. Like, I got into an accident that day. They know the exact day. I called Cooper Hurley Injury Lawyers 44 days after. They know those dates. So we do that settleversary gift. And at least 2 mailers are just about referrals. So the last one we did, it was like a bifold. And it basically said, flowers are nice, but what your loved ones really need after a car accident is an injury attorney. So, just consistently reminding them, the emails, social media, we consistently do raffles. A big part of our strategy is to stay on top of mind. Don't forget us. We do the magnets, the year-end magnets. We have so many things that are branded with our name. Everything you can think of, and we try to make them nicer gifts, T-shirts, but we try to stay top of mind as much as possible.
So listen, you're going to be speaking on stage at the Pilma Super Summit down in New Orleans on June the 27th through the 29th. Can you give us a little hint on what you're going to be talking about?
Sure. So I'll be talking bulletproof marketing strategies. I think marketing can be a very complicated industry. But a lot of times people have issues with starting, or they start and they get stuck. So if I can distill marketing to a 1-page marketing plan to get you moving, that's what we're going to talk about. I think I have about 30 minutes, and we'll talk about some research things that you should do before. I am a data junkie, I will admit it. Some research pieces that you should be doing before, some real life strategies, some of the ones that I talked about today, and then post. So you deployed that strategy. Great. Now what? Are you assessing that? Do you have the KPIs? Do you have the manpower available to you to make sure that works? And what are your measurements for success? And then just, it's cyclical. You go back to it and you say, all right, now let's do some research again. Let's deploy or better that strategy and look at metrics again. That'll be what I'm talking about.
Yeah, y'all don't want to miss this. And, we sell out pretty much every year. I don't know that we did last year because of COVID, although we had over 100 and something people that were doing it live stream. But I think we still had, a couple hundred in DC. But yeah, so go to pilmasummit.com, I think it is, or just go to Pilma, look at events or whatever and check that out. And you get to hear more from Miss Cassidy and 25 other lawyers, experts, leading industry leaders talk about. And we also have Vern Harnish, who is the growth guru, the guy that wrote Rockefeller Habits, scaling up competition. He's a genius, one of my mentors, and I got him to come down and he's going to talk about what it takes to scale up a business. In parting here today, what would be your best advice if people, either lawyers or marketing people in law firms, what would you tell them? Like, if you're having problems getting started or whatever, what would be your good advice to them? Little nugget.
If they need to make sure, I think, that they have the manpower. If they're an attorney and they have X amount of cases, et cetera, it is difficult to start or remain consistent in marketing. And a good portion of marketing is consistency. You're going to have to go out there and hire yourself a marketer. You will. I could drill down into psychographics and all these data points and all these things that make our strategies really work. And it's something that an attorney isn't trained for. There are some great creative, intelligent people. What I've seen them, what I can say would really help grow some of these law firms is having at least one dedicated person to marketing in-house, not a vendor, in-house. That's all they do is make your phone ring. That's their only job, is to make your phone ring.
I agree. And if they're like a solo practitioner, I came afford one time, there's colleges out there that you can hire people or get interns. They would love to have it on their resume when they hit market. And sometimes you find a jewel in there and keep them. I've had lawyers that offered people jobs at the end of it because they really like what they were doing.
Oh, yeah.
Not all of them work out, but the deal is you can get somebody for just about nothing. And all these colleges have marketing majors that they work 15, 20 hours a week for pretty much $10 an hour just to get the experience. They're not doing it for the money. Absolutely. So, I think that's, if you really just have a limited budget, but I think you're right, because the less people you have, then that means you got to be doing other things and you're juggling 4 or 5 hats and you're just not going to get it done. And I think you hit something very, very important like that. Consistency. This is where I see most lawyers screw it up, is that they got great ideas and they get started and then life gets in the way, the business gets in the way, and they don't follow through, or they'll come up with all these great ideas and they'll tell the people we're going to do this, and then they don't follow through and hold them accountable, or they don't give them the money, or stuff sits on their desk waiting to get approved for 6 months when they, and you can't move till they get it. I've seen that with vendors too. I get vendors complaining to me about lawyers that won't get them their stuff back, and they'll wait 3 months. Then when they get it back to them, then they want to know within 24 hours, why ain't it up? Why you got it up? So, I mean, that happens, right? It happens. Hurry up and wait. But I think that's the big deal. And all these great ideas are nothing more than just a big pipe dream until you get, you got implementation is the key, right? And you can tell by what you and Hurley have done together is that you've doubled his practice in 4 years, but you had to spend the money to hire these people to get the stuff done, because it's not going to do it itself. It's just not. And it's an ongoing battle. I mean, it's like right now I can tell you got your 200 into certain deals, but now you're trying to get all these little sellout offices, get the 200 on those. And, and you might be thinking about putting more sellout offices because of the vicinity change in algorithm. We got always. Yeah. I mean, everybody's thinking about that. How can we go do this? We were talking about it masterminds, and this was my suggestion, but I'm not saying it's the only way to do it, but you got to have a real office. I was thinking if you go to a place, go look at your zip codes of where your people are hiring you now, and go find where there's not a PI lawyer, but a domestic lawyer or criminal lawyer, and rent a space from them and hang your shingle out. And you could do the same with them, or you can just pay them, or you could do a swap, a barter. But you got to have a real shingle, and you got to have a real office with a real chair. And so get Giggle, go out there and take pictures of it, what they call it, the verification stage, where they got their approved photographers that'll go out there and take pictures and put them on your Google My Business page and stuff like that. And I don't know. That's just a thought. I don't know. Have you got any thoughts about it? Because I'm sure you've been thinking about it.
Very similar. One thing that if you already have multiple locations, you need to make sure, because they'll give you the heat map. Your web team should be able to give you the heat map. And so we're like, oh my God, we're showing so bad for this one location. If you compare your multiple locations, sometimes like our Norfolk location was showing where our Virginia Beach location was not. We're having an issue in Virginia Beach. And so we recognize that that's not really where we need to focus on. So make sure that if you already have multiple locations, to look at all of them and where they show well. And then another space that we are showing poorly is essentially a base. You know what I mean? So Google says you need an office right here. No, we don't. Make sure that you're just processing all of this. But yeah, I definitely agree with, going in with a friend, that doesn't do what you do. Have signage, have a suite number. We have had our Google My Businesses suspended before, we think, from competition, but we don't know. And the first thing when I got on the phone with them, they said, take a picture of your sign that has your suite number. So that's big. People say, I have my office, somebody's there all the time. I check the boxes. Please have signage, outdoor signage if you can, but you have to have your own suite when you do that.
Cool. Good point. Good deal. So, well, listen, I really appreciate the day, and I look forward to seeing you in New Orleans. You don't have to, if you want to leave your contact in case somebody wants to pick your brain, or you might not have time to have your brain picked. You sound like me, you're busy doubling practices.
It is the vision of my partners that I am executing. They can email me, C as in cat, Lewis, Lewis at cooperhurley.com. I always encourage people to come to our roundtable. It is the third Wednesday of every month at 2 p.m. And Pema does a great job at sending out that email. But get on my email list as well. We talk marketing shops sometimes. Sometimes if you're an attorney, you may not want to get there. Sometimes we talk about the attorneys too and how y'all drive us crazy.
Absolutely.
But, definitely shoot me an email. I tell my boss. I tell him, so I said, you know what? It's not just you. All y'all are driving us crazy, but it's okay. But yeah, please send me any emails. I love talking marketing shops, so I love to talk to you guys.
Thank you so much, Cassidy. And I look forward to seeing you in New Orleans in June.
I'll see you then. Bye, Ken.
All right. Bye-bye. Until next time, this is Ken Hardison, dedicated to your success.
You have been listening to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, the podcast that leads lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Go to growyourlawfirm.com to find more ways to market and manage your law firm. Please leave us a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts.